we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the years, not in the setting of intelligence, but through mutual friends. So I just kind of want to ask you a very simple and straightforward question. You have an accomplished career. You are, by electoral standards, in a seat that would be considered by the Cook Report as a safe district. You seem to be enjoying your work. Why are you doing this? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, obviously you've exposed yourself to criticism, and the climate today in politics is pretty intense. I think the most fundamental question is why is this a job that you are willing to step forward and do at this time?
Senator, I appreciate the question, and I appreciated the time that we've had to get to know each other when you've come over to the lower house to visit with us. First of all, I think anytime the president asks you to do something for your country, you ought to consider if there's a way for you to salute smartly and say yes. But beyond that, you have to want this job. And for the same reason I, in my opening, talked about leaving a successful law practice to make a fraction of that to be a federal prosecutor. The mission's too important, and what the intelligence community means, how it has positioned the United States as the world superpower, and I think everyone knows that the relationship between the intelligence community, Congress, the president, and across the board right now is something that's at issue. We've got intelligence authorities and their uses being questioned. I realize it's a sort of a difficult time, but D&I, again, the core responsibility is leadership, and it's easy to raise your hand when things are going perfectly. It's harder to raise your hand when they're not. And the mission's too important of keeping Americans safe, and the opportunity to lead is something that I want to do. And I guess I will say this: it's been the privilege of my life to serve as a member of Congress. But the best job I ever had was to be the United States Attorney. And what I loved about it was an apolitical position. I stood up always to represent the United States of America, never one party or another. And I very, very much view that as this role for the D&I. I look forward to treating every member, Republican and Democrat, exactly the same way, and frankly, being out of politics.
I mean, that's an important question, because I've heard some of the skepticism that's been raised is about experience and the experience needed to lead this intelligence enterprise. And it's my view you actually have pretty extensive experience, both as on the committee in the House, both on Homeland Security and Intelligence, and also on Judiciary, and then your work, as you said, as a U.S. Attorney. What is it in what you have done over the last, during your career, that you believe prepares you best for the role you now have of sort of overseeing all of these different pillars of our intelligence capabilities?
Well, I think it was mentioned earlier, I've now seen intelligence from three different vantage points: as an end user and a developer, as a consumer of intelligence, and as an overseer of intelligence. And as far as experience, I started handling national security issues back in 2005, and that included intelligence authorities. My first exposure with FISA was 2005, and in trying to respond to this committee, we found that in at least one instance, the authorities that I used remain, or the matters that I work on remain classified. So from an experience standpoint, as far back as 2005, I've been using those authorities. But I think the role of U.S. Attorney in particular, and my time as Chief of Anti-Terrorism for 4 years is particularly well suited and analogous to the D&I. So as U.S. Attorney, I was running a federated enterprise, working across federal agencies, integrating, coordinating, sharing information, and doing so in an apolitical way. And that's very much what the Director of National Intelligence does, integrates and coordinates across all 17 intelligence agencies, making the community better so that it can make members of Congress, the President, and our policymakers better informed on national security decisions. My time in Congress as well, the committees that I've been on, legislating, creating national security laws, I think I've got a broad, deep, and more than qualified level of experience when we talk about national security issues. And I also think I've got good judgment because I've identified when there are problems with the use of intelligence authorities, and I've spoken truth to power when I've seen it misused.
Well, I enthusiastically support your nomination, and I look forward to voting for you on the committee and again on the floor. Thank you.
We will make America great again.